In the shadow of towering metallic spires, Leo Martinez moved swiftly through the dimly lit streets of New Eden, the capital of Earth under the oppressive rule of the Galactic Council. His heart raced as he navigated the maze of alleys littered with the remnants of a once vibrant civilization, now reduced to mere resources for the alien overlords everywhere. He saw the effects of their domination, humans toiling away in factories, their faces weary and filled with despair. Leo ducked into a hidden entrance of a crumbling building, known only to a few rebels. The underground base buzzed with energy, a stark contrast to the outside world. He was met by his close friend and fellow engineer Maya, who was working tirelessly on modifying old tech for the upcoming revolution. "Leo, we need to talk," she said, urgency lacing her voice. "Have you heard the latest from the council? They're tightening their grip on the population even more." "I know," Leo replied, his brow furrowing. "We can't let them keep us under their thumb much longer." He glanced around the room at the ragtag group of rebels, huddled over blueprints and makeshift devices. They were united by a common goal: to free humanity from the clutches of the council. It was a daunting task, but they had to believe in the possibility of change. Maya's eyes sparkled with determination. "Have you seen this?" she said, revealing a data chip that glimmered under the dim lights. "It contains information on a hidden archive deep within the council's central hub. They say it holds the blueprints for an advanced warship." Leo's heart skipped a beat. The prospect of a powerful ship could change everything. If they could get their hands on it, it might just give them the leverage they desperately needed. "We have to get it," Leo said, excitement bubbling within him. He envisioned the Aegis, a ship that could turn the tide in their favor. The plans were buried under layers of security, but if they could retrieve them, it would mark the beginning of a new era for humanity. The group began to gather around as Leo outlined their plan. They would infiltrate the council's central hub under the cover of night. They would have to be stealthy and quick, using the chaos of a scheduled council meeting to slip past security. They needed the right timing and precise execution. "I can handle the tech," Maya offered. "I can create a diversion with the power grid while you guys sneak in." Leo nodded, appreciating her skills. He could always rely on her ingenuity. As they discussed the details, a surge of adrenaline coursed through him. Each member of the team brought their unique talents to the table, and he felt a growing sense of camaraderie. But there were risks they had to consider. The council's enforcers were ruthless, and the security systems were state-of-the-art. They would have to be cautious. Leo took a deep breath, reminding himself that freedom was worth any danger they might face. As the night wore on, they finalized their strategy and prepared for the mission. Leo felt a mix of excitement and fear. He knew they were stepping into the lion's den, but he couldn't shake the feeling that this was their moment, their chance to strike back against the council and reclaim their future. After gathering supplies and weapons, they set out under the cover of darkness. The city was eerily quiet, save for the distant hum of council ships patrolling the skies. As they approached the central hub, Leo could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him. This was not just a mission, it was a declaration that humanity would no longer be a pawn in someone else's game. They moved through the shadows, their hearts racing with every step. As they reached the towering structure that housed the heart of the council's power, determination fueled their resolve. They were ready to face whatever awaited them inside, and they would do it together, united by hope and the dream of liberation. As Leo and his team approached the towering structure of the council's central hub, the air was thick with tension. Shadows danced under the flickering streetlights, their hearts pounded in sync with the distant hum of council ships patrolling above. They slipped into an alleyway, hiding from the watchful eyes of the enforcers stationed nearby. Maida crouched next to Leo, her eyes scanning the blueprints they had downloaded from the data chip. "The entrance to the archive is on the east side," she whispered. "We need to create a distraction first if we're going to slip past security." Leo nodded, knowing that Maya's plan was crucial. They needed every advantage they could get. "All right," he said, "let's get into position." The rest of the crew fanned out, taking their places, while Leo and Maya moved toward the power grid access point. Concealed beneath a metal grate, Leo could feel the adrenaline coursing through his veins. They were on the brink of something monumental. With deft movements, Maya opened the grate, revealing a narrow shaft leading down into the depths of the building. She quickly set to work hacking into the system. Her fingers flew over the interface. As she bypassed security protocols, Leo stood guard, listening for any signs of danger. Their window was small, and they had to move fast. Just as Maya finished, the connection alarms blared throughout the vicinity. The sound echoed in the night sky as red lights began to flash above them. "We need to go now," Leo shouted as he grabbed Maya's arm, pulling her toward the entrance. They dashed into the building, just as the guards began to respond to the breach. The interior was stark and metallic, the walls lined with blinking control panels and screens displaying the council's operations. Leo led the way, navigating the labyrinthine corridors with Maya close behind. They'd reached the archive room, only to find it locked behind a reinforced door. Leo took a deep breath, assessing the situation. They had to find a way inside. Maya pulled out her portable hacking device and began working on the lock. They had practiced for this moment, but the pressure felt overwhelming. Every second counted as the sounds of approaching footsteps grew louder. Come on, she urged as her device emitted a series of beeps. Leo glanced back toward the corridor. They had come from the tension mounting in his chest. He could hear the distant shouts of the guards echoing through the halls. With a final beep, the lock clicked open, and the door swung wide, revealing rows of data storage units and glowing consoles inside. Leo felt a surge of triumph. They had made it. He rushed in with Maya right behind him. Quickly, they began searching for the blueprints amidst the vast sea of data units. Leo's heart raced as he scanned the screens, his fingers flying over the controls, desperate to find the information they needed. "Here," Maya called out, pulling up a holographic display of the warship's blueprints. Leo's eyes widened as he took in the intricate designs and advanced technology. It was everything they had hoped for, but there was no time to celebrate. They had to get out. Leo grabbed a data chip and transferred the blueprints as Maya continued to monitor the incoming guards. "We need to move," she urged, her voice steady. "They can't know we were here." Leo nodded, knowing the gravity of their situation. As the download finished, he tucked the chip into his pocket and turned to Maya. "Let's go," he said, and they raced back toward the door. Just as they reached it, the guards burst into the room, their faces twisted in fury. Leo felt a surge of adrenaline as he and Maya prepared to fight their way out. They were outnumbered, but they had come too far to back down now. Maya activated a smoke grenade, throwing it into the room, obscuring their exit. As chaos erupted, the guards struggled to see through the cloud of smoke. Leo seized the opportunity and sprinted into the corridor, leading them toward the nearest exit. They were so close to freedom, but the danger was far from over. As Leo and Maya navigated through the smoke-filled corridor, alarms blared in their ears. The sounds of chaos echoed behind them. With every step, they could hear the shouts of guards and the clatter of boots on metal. The corridor seemed to stretch endlessly, and every corner they turned brought the fear of capture closer. "We need to find a way out fast," Maya urged, her eyes darting around. As they emerged from the smoke, they quickly spotted an emergency exit sign flickering in the distance. Leo nodded, and they headed toward it, their hearts pounding in unison. As they reached the exit, Leo pushed the door open and stumbled into a darkened alley. Behind the building, they were momentarily blinded by the brightness of the streetlights after the darkness of the corridor, but the reprieve was short-lived. They needed to keep moving. "This way," Leo said, steering them toward a narrow side street. Their breaths came in ragged gasps as they sprinted through the shadows. The adrenaline surging through them was both exhilarating and terrifying. They could not afford to slow down, not now. Once they reached a more secluded area, Leo pulled out the data chip he had snatched from the archive. "We did it," he said triumphantly. "The blueprints are ours, but we're not safe yet." Maya nodded, her expression serious. "The council will send out patrols immediately. They need to know we're here." "Let's regroup with the others," Leo suggested. "We can't stay out here too long. They'll be looking for us." He activated his communicator and tried to reach the rest of the team. His heart sank as static filled his ears. "It's not working," he said, frustration creeping in. "We might be out of range, or they could have scrambled the signals." Maya replied, "We need to move. We'll head to the rendezvous point. If we can get there, we can regroup and figure out our next steps." They made their way through the winding alleys of New Eden, keeping low and quiet. Leo felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. They had acquired the blueprints, But at what cost? The risk of being discovered loomed over them like a dark cloud. Suddenly, they heard voices in the distance. Leo froze, gesturing for Maya to stop. They ducked behind a stack of discarded crates, straining to hear the conversation. As the voices grew closer, Leo's heart raced. He recognized the tone. It was a group of council enforcers. "They can't have gone far," one of the enforcers said, scanning the area with a handheld device. "If we catch them, we'll make an example out of them." The threat hung in the air like a cold chill. Leo clenched his fists, knowing that the council's brutality would be unleashed on them if caught. Maya turned to Leo, her eyes wide with fear. "We can't let them find us," she whispered. "We need to create a diversion to buy us some time." Leo nodded, considering their options. There was a nearby market filled with goods and supplies. If they could create enough noise, they might draw the guards away from their trail. "Let's do it," he said with determination. He gestured for Maya to follow him as they crept toward the market, the sounds of their pursuers fading behind them. They spotted a stall filled with fragile containers of goods perfect for what they needed. Together, they carefully set up a chain reaction, knocking over containers and spilling their contents onto the ground. The crash reverberated through the market, and the chaos erupted as people shouted and scattered in every direction. The distraction worked as the enforcers hurried toward the noise, giving Leo and Maya the chance they needed to slip away. With their pursuers occupied, they sprinted toward the rendezvous point, their hearts racing with a mix of fear and exhilaration. As they turned the final corner, Leo's breath caught in his throat. There stood their crew, waiting anxiously and scanning the surroundings. "You made it," one of them shouted, relief washing over their faces. Leo and Maya quickly joined the group and shared the news. "We have the blueprints," Leo announced, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. "But we have to act fast. The council will be on us before we know it." Together, they began discussing their next steps. Excitement and determination surged through the group as they planned their future with the Aegis, the warship that could change everything and finally give humanity a fighting chance against the Galactic Council. As the group gathered around Leo, the atmosphere crackled with anticipation. Their hearts were still racing from the close call, but the blueprints they had obtained ignited a spark of hope among them. Leo spread the data chip on a makeshift table, revealing the intricate designs of the Aegis. The ship was a marvel of engineering, a symbol of their rebellion. "We need to start building it immediately," Leo said, pointing to the blueprint details. "It's our only chance to confront the council head-on." Maya chimed in, agreeing with his urgency. The others nodded, their expressions filled with determination, but there was a sense of weight as well. They knew the task ahead was monumental. "First, we need a secure location," one of the crew suggested. "We can't work in the open." Leo nodded, contemplating the best course of action. "We have to find a hidden base, somewhere far from the council's reach. We can't afford to be discovered again." "We could use the old manufacturing facility on the outskirts of the city," Maya proposed. "It was abandoned and should have enough space to work without raising suspicion." The others exchanged glances, clearly weighing the risks, but Leo could see the resolve building among them. That facility could work. "Let's move then," Leo urged. "Time is not on our side. If we're going to build the Aegis, we need to start now." The crew quickly gathered their supplies and prepared to head out under the cover of night. They moved stealthily through the back alleys, avoiding the main roads where council patrols were likely to be watching. Once they reached the manufacturing facility, the sight of the dilapidated structure filled Leo with mixed emotions. It was a relic of humanity's past, a place where dreams had once been forged. Now it stood as a haunting reminder of their struggles, but it was also a canvas for their future. Inside the facility, they spread out, assessing the space. There were large open areas filled with old machinery and tools that could be repurposed for their needs. Leo felt a surge of inspiration as he imagined the Aegis taking shape in this very space. "Let's get to work," Leo called out, rallying the crew. They divided tasks based on their skills. Some began clearing debris, while others set up makeshift workstations. Maya focused on setting up a communication network to keep them informed of any council movements. Days turned into nights as they labored tirelessly. The sounds of clanking metal and excited chatter filled the air. The blueprints transformed into physical components. As the Aegis began to take shape, Leo marveled at the sight of their progress. The ship was becoming more than just a dream. It was a reality forged from their collective determination. But the Council was not oblivious to their activities. As the crew worked, Leo received reports of increased patrols in the area. He knew they had to be cautious. Their window of opportunity was closing. They couldn't let their hard work go to waste. One evening, while they were deep into their work, alarms rang out across the city. The familiar sound sent a chill down Leo's spine. The Council was onto them. "We need to hide everything," he shouted, his voice echoing through the facility. Everyone sprang into action, quickly covering the ship's components with tarps and hiding any evidence of their operation. Leo's heart raced as he thought of all they had built. What would happen if they were discovered? They huddled together, waiting for the sounds of the Council patrols to pass. The tension in the air was palpable. Fear gnawed at their resolve, but Leo refused to let it consume them. "We can't back down," he said firmly. "If we give in now, everything we fought for will be lost." As the patrols moved away, the crew emerged from their hiding spots. The fire in their hearts rekindled. "We have to push harder," he urged. "If we finish the Aegis, we can strike back. We have the chance to show the Council that humanity is not to be underestimated." With renewed determination, they returned to their work, the blueprints now a living testament to their struggle and hope. They would finish the Aegis no matter the cost, and when the time came, they would confront the Council with a power they never expected from the humans they had long sought to suppress. As the days passed in the manufacturing facility, the crew pushed themselves to the limit, working around the clock to complete the Aegis. Leo felt the weight of their mission pressing heavily on his shoulders. They were building more than just a ship. They were crafting a symbol of resistance, a chance to reclaim their freedom. Maya worked tirelessly on the ship's systems. Her expertise with technology proved invaluable as they integrated advanced features from the blueprints. She would often stay late into the night, her fingers flying over consoles, while Leo ensured that the physical structure was taking shape. He marveled at how quickly the crew had bonded, each member contributing their skills and ideas. One evening, as they gathered around a table to review their progress, Leo sensed a shift in the atmosphere, a palpable tension that had been building among the group. He cleared his throat and looked at his friends. "We're making great progress, but I can't shake the feeling that the Council is watching us closely." Maya nodded, her expression serious. "We've seen increased patrols around the facility. They must suspect something is up. If we don't act soon, we could lose everything we've built." Leo's heart raced at her words. They had to rally more support if they were going to confront the Council. "We need to reach out to other groups across the galaxy," he said. "We can't fight this battle alone. We need allies who understand what we're up against. We could unite the factions who are also unhappy with the Council's rule, but we have to be careful. If we draw too much attention, it could backfire." "That's a good idea," another crew member chimed in. "But how do we convince them to join us? It won't be easy getting past their mistrust of humans." Leo took a deep breath, contemplating their options. "We need to showcase the Aegis and what we stand for. If they see the potential in our mission, they might be willing to join." With the plan set in motion, Leo and Maya began reaching out to various factions across the galaxy using the communication network Maya had set up. They sent out encrypted messages detailing their mission and inviting others to witness the unveiling of the Aegis. The response was slow, but they were determined to forge alliances. After several tense days, a few ships began to arrive at the manufacturing facility, their hulls marked with the insignias of various alien factions. As the first group entered, Leo felt a surge of excitement mixed with anxiety. These were not just potential allies, but individuals who had experienced the Council's oppression firsthand. Leo stepped forward to greet them. As they entered the facility, he introduced himself and Maya, explaining their vision for the Aegis and the rebellion against the Council. He spoke passionately about the shared struggles that united them and the need for collaboration. The leaders of the arriving factions listened intently. Some exchanged skeptical glances, while others seemed genuinely intrigued. As Leo showcased the ship's design and capabilities, he could feel the atmosphere shifting slowly. They began to understand the power of unity. One of the alien leaders, a tall figure with shimmering skin, stepped forward. "I've seen the devastation the Council brings to my people," he said. "Your courage resonates with us. If this Aegis can indeed provide a fighting chance, we will stand with you." Cheers erupted from the crowd as more factions began to express their support. Excitement filled the air as alliances formed and pledges of cooperation were made. Leo felt a sense of hope blossoming within him. They were no longer alone in this fight. Together, they would stand against the Council. But their newfound strength came with a heavy price. They needed to prepare for retaliation. Leo knew the Council would not take their uprising lightly, and as the factions left to rally their forces, he felt a growing urgency to finish the Aegis and fortify their defenses. Days turned into a blur of activity as the crew worked relentlessly to complete the ship and reinforce their base. Leo led the team with renewed vigor. They had a coalition now, and failure was not an option. They would not only defend their future, but take the fight to the Council and demand the respect they deserved as equals in the galaxy. As the Aegis neared completion, Leo looked around at his crew, their faces filled with determination and purpose. They were ready to change the course of history, and he knew that together they could challenge the Galactic Council in ways they had never imagined possible. The day had come when the Aegis was finally ready. Leo stood in the hangar watching as the crew completed the final touches. Their hard work and determination had transformed the once abandoned facility into a bustling hub of activity. The ship gleamed under the harsh lights, a testament to their collective efforts and aspirations. As they prepared for the unveiling, Leo gathered everyone around. He could see the mixture of excitement and anxiety in their eyes. "We fought hard for this moment," he began, his voice steady. "This ship is not just a vessel, it's a symbol of our resistance, a promise that we will not bow down to the Council any longer." The crowd erupted in cheers, and Leo felt a swell of pride, knowing that they were united in their cause. But as the cheers faded, a sense of urgency crept in. He knew the Council would not remain passive for long. They had to act swiftly and decisively. "We need to launch a strike against a Council outpost nearby," Leo proposed. As the group listened intently, "This will show them that we are serious and that we have the capability to fight back. We'll demonstrate the power of the Aegis and rally more support across the galaxy." Maya stepped forward, her expression serious but resolute. "This will be dangerous, but if we time it right, we can catch them off guard and make a significant impact." Leo nodded, appreciating her courage. The crew began discussing strategies for the strike. They analyzed the data they had gathered on the Council's operations, pinpointing vulnerabilities that could be exploited. After hours of heated discussion, they devised a plan that would involve a coordinated attack using the Aegis along with their allied ships. They would strike quickly and efficiently, aiming to disrupt supply lines and showcase their strength. The atmosphere buzzed with adrenaline as the crew prepared for the mission ahead. As night fell, the Aegis was fully armed and ready for action. Leo took a moment to survey the ship. His heart raced at the thought of the battle ahead. They were embarking on a dangerous path, but he knew they had no choice. The future of humanity and their allies depended on it. Once everyone was aboard, the crew took their positions in the command center. Leo felt a rush of adrenaline as he settled into the captain's chair. The ship's systems came to life around him, and he could feel the power humming beneath the surface. Maya was at the controls, monitoring their flight path. Her eyes narrowed in concentration. "We're approaching the outpost, Leo," he said, tightening his grip on the controls. "Keep an eye on the readings. If they detect us, we'll have to execute the backup plan." They moved through the darkness of space, the stars twinkling like distant dreams. The anticipation was palpable as they neared the Council outpost. Leo initiated the stealth protocols, the ship gliding silently through the void. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the Aegis, and the crew sprang into action. "What's happening?" Maya shouted as the ship shook with turbulence. Leo's heart raced as he scanned the displays. The Council's sensors must have detected them. They were onto them. "Brace for evasive maneuvers," Leo commanded, his voice steady as the crew scrambled to their stations. The Aegis responded to his commands, the ship shifting seamlessly as they maneuvered away from the incoming fire. "Return fire," Leo ordered as the enemy ships closed in. The crew unleashed the Aegis's weapons system. With precision, the ship rocked with the force of the blasts as they fought back against the Council's forces. Maya worked feverishly at her station, weaving through enemy fire and coordinating their allied ships. As they engaged in battle, Leo felt the exhilaration of combat pumping through him. They were fighting for their lives, for their future, and for each other. The enemy ships swarmed around them, but the Aegis was built for this moment, its advanced technology, allowing them to outmaneuver their opponents. Leo guided the ship through the chaos, keeping a cool head as they exchanged fire. "We're breaking through," Maya shouted as they pushed deeper into the heart of the outpost. They could see the supply lines and storage facilities. Ahead, the crew worked together seamlessly, their trust in one another evident as they executed their plan with precision. Leo could see the enemy's defenses faltering. They had done the unthinkable. They were striking back, and the Council was beginning to feel the weight of their resistance. As the battle raged on, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were not just fighting for survival, they were fighting to change the course of their destiny, and the destiny of the galaxy itself. As the Aegis pressed deeper into the Council outpost, Leo felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through him. The ship's systems hummed with power as they navigated the chaos of battle. Enemy ships swarmed around them, but the crew fought with determination, their resolve unshakable. "We're nearing the supply lines," Leo called out over the din of alarms and blaring notifications. "Stay focused, keep an eye on those flanks." Maya shouted back, her fingers flying over the controls, her expertise keeping them one step ahead of the enemy. The Aegis unleashed a volley of fire, striking enemy ships and causing explosions to bloom in the darkness of space. The sight filled Leo with exhilaration. This was what they had fought for. They were finally striking back against the oppression that had long plagued humanity and their allies. "We have to disable those supply depots," he commanded as they approached the target area. Leo watched the readings carefully. They were on the verge of making a significant impact against the Council's logistics. If they could destroy these facilities, it would cripple the enemy's ability to respond. Maya redirected the ship, positioning them for a clearer shot. Her eyes narrowed in concentration. The crew was poised for action, ready to unleash their firepower. At a moment's notice, Leo felt a sense of unity among them. They were all in this together, bound by a shared purpose. "Fire at will," Leo shouted as the Aegis launched its weapons, targeting the supply depots. Explosions rocked the area, sending debris spiraling through space. The enemy forces scrambled to respond, but their defenses were faltering as the crew continued their assault. With each successful strike, Leo felt the weight of their mission lifting. They were proving that humanity was capable of so much more than the Council had ever believed. As they tore through the defenses, he knew they had to maintain their momentum. Suddenly, an alert flashed on the control panel. A massive enemy warship emerged from the shadows, its guns primed and ready to fire. Leo's heart sank. They had triggered a response far stronger than anticipated. "Get us out of here," Maya shouted, but Leo could see the warship's targeting systems locking onto them. He knew they couldn't run, not yet. If they did, they would lose everything they had fought for. "We can't back down," Leo replied, his voice steady. "We have to finish what we started. If we can disable that warship, it will send a message to the Council that we are not to be underestimated." Maya nodded, her determination evident as she redirected the Aegis toward the incoming threat. The crew readied themselves for the fight of their lives, knowing that failure was not an option. Leo felt the ship shudder as they fired at the warship, the blasts illuminating the darkness around them. But the enemy vessel was heavily armed and retaliated with a barrage of fire that rocked the Aegis. "We need to focus on their engines," Maya called out. "If we can disable them, we'll have a fighting chance." Leo gritted his teeth as he guided the ship, weaving through incoming fire. The crew worked seamlessly together, each member playing their part in the chaotic dance of battle. As they maneuvered closer, Leo could see the warship's engines glowing ominously. He could almost feel the energy radiating from them. If they could take those down, they would have the advantage they needed. Now, Leo shouted as they targeted the engines, unleashing a powerful barrage of fire. The shots struck true, and the warship shuddered as flames erupted from its rear section, disabling its engines. The enemy vessel began to drift aimlessly through space. Yes, Maya cheered. We did it. Leo felt a rush of triumph as they watched the enemy warship lose power. It was a turning point in the battle, a demonstration of their strength and resolve. But there was no time to celebrate. The remaining enemy ships were regrouping and launching a counterattack. We have to finish the job, Leo said, his voice steady. We'll take out the remaining ships and secure our position. Then we can regroup with our allies and plan our next move. With renewed determination, the crew of the Aegis rallied together, firing at the remaining enemy ships. As they pressed forward, the tide of battle had shifted, and they could feel the exhilaration of victory within their grasp. As the last of the enemy ships fell to their fire, Leo knew they had achieved something remarkable. They had faced the Council head-on and emerged victorious. Now, they had to capitalize on their success and continue the fight for their future. The galaxy was watching, and they would not falter. As the last enemy ship was engulfed in flames, a deafening cheer erupted throughout the Aegis. Leo felt a surge of pride wash over him. This victory was not just theirs, it belonged to all who had suffered under the Council's tyranny. They had shown the galaxy that humanity and their allies would no longer be silenced. But the moment was fleeting. The battle may have been won, but the war was far from over. Leo quickly refocused the crew. We can't linger here, he said, urgency lacing his voice. We need to regroup with our allies and prepare for the inevitable counterattack. The Council will respond to this loss. Maya nodded, already scanning their communication systems. The Allied ships were nearby. She reported, they're forming a perimeter to protect us. We can use this time to assess our next steps. Leo felt a mixture of relief and anticipation. They had a chance to solidify their position and expand their coalition. As the Allied ships surrounded them, Leo took a moment to appreciate the scene around him. Vessels of different designs and colors hovered in formation, each representing the diversity of their newfound alliance. He felt a sense of camaraderie that he had never experienced before. Leo initiated a communication link to address the Allied leaders gathered on their ships. He stood tall in the command center, the view of the vastness of space. Behind him, comrades, he began, we have struck a blow against the Council today, but this is only the beginning. The leaders listened intently, their faces reflecting a mix of hope and determination. We have shown that we are strong together, he continued. If we unite our forces, we can push back against the Council and reclaim our freedom. One of the alien leaders stepped forward, his voice resonating through the communication link. We have seen what the Aegis can do, and we believe in your cause. If we stand together, we can break the chains of oppression that have bound us for too long. Cheers erupted among the Allied ships, and Leo felt the weight of their support bolster his resolve. They were ready to join the fight, and together they would forge a new path forward. We need to establish a plan, Leo said. The Council will not take this lightly. We have to strike quickly while they are still reeling from their losses. We can hit their supply lines and disrupt their command structures. This will create chaos within their ranks. The leaders began discussing strategies and ideas. Animated conversations filled the air as they collaborated and coordinated their efforts. Leo felt invigorated by the exchange of ideas. This was a true alliance built on mutual respect and a shared desire for freedom. As they finalized their plans, Leo could feel the momentum shifting in their favor. They had transformed from a small band of rebels into a formidable coalition, ready to challenge the Council on multiple fronts. It was a chance for a future free from oppression. But as they prepared for their next moves, Leo couldn't shake the feeling of urgency deep in his gut. They had achieved a significant victory, but he knew the Council would retaliate with ferocity. They had to be ready for whatever came next. As the Allied ships departed, Leo returned to the Aegis, preparing for their next mission. The crew worked tirelessly to repair and refit the ship, ensuring they would be ready for the battles ahead. He felt a renewed sense of purpose guiding them. Days turned into weeks as the coalition launched coordinated strikes against Council outposts, each victory igniting a fire of rebellion across the galaxy. As more factions joined their cause, Leo watched in awe as the alliance grew stronger with each passing day. But the Council was relentless. They began to retaliate with brutal efficiency, targeting key locations and using their advanced technology to strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. Leo felt the pressure mounting as they faced their greatest challenges yet. Despite the adversity, the spirit of the coalition remained unbroken. Leo and Maya led the charge, inspiring their allies with every victory, and rallying them in the face of loss. They became a symbol of hope for the oppressed. In the final confrontation with the Council, Leo knew that the stakes had never been higher. They were no longer just fighting for survival. They were fighting for a new future, a galaxy where freedom reigned and oppression was nothing but a distant memory. As he prepared for the final battle, Leo felt a sense of resolve that he knew would carry them through whatever lay ahead. Together, they would triumph and forge a legacy that would echo through the stars.